Oh my God. Let me show you what I got. This beat is so hot. Oh my God.
Is that bullshit?
I think not.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Candy Shop Fantasy Football Podcast, a part of the Fantasy Six Pack Audio Network. I'm your host tonight, Dylan Clemens, and here with me, as they are every single week, are the Mike and Ikes, the candy to this shop, Mike Bonney. Oh, no, I messed it up. Michael Plant and Ike Bonney. Fellas, what's going on?
Hey.
I mean, we're the Mike and Ikes when you are here every week, but you know you weren't here last week, so
Yeah, man, you guys did a terrific job last week without me. So it was, good job. No, for real though, you guys.
well, I mean, you saw what I was working with right there. You just set Ike up for success, and he just goes, "Good."
He just gives me.
You saw what I was working with.
I'm a man of very few words.
Absolutely. But guys, we're here. Obviously, we're talking our Week 11 game previews here. It's hard to believe we're already in Week 11 of the NFL season. This thing is just zoomed by, man. Pretty soon we're going to be craving football, but until then, man, I'm still into it. I'm still ready to go. I'm not ready to go for this Packers Bears game. Let me tell you that. But how you guys feeling after Thursday night football? After Saquon decides to go off. He's really the only guy who went bananas last night, right? I'm not missing anybody.
I mean, yeah, as far as bananas goes,
Yeah.
he was the one that went.
Ryan Robinson scored.
Yeah.
That
that
was
was
all
nice
just
to see
mediocre
him.
nights from everybody else.
Mm-hmm. It looks like Jalen Carter is really starting to disrupt games that he's a part of now on that Eagles defensive line. And with them retooling it in the draft, especially this year, getting Quinyon Mitchell and blanking on the other cornerback.
Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper DeJean. Just to think that their secondary guys has done a complete 180 this year.
It was risky playing that defense. I'm glad I did. They actually turned out like a 10-pointer or something like
They're
that.
good stuff. Jaden looked not comfortable the entire game. I think that's.
And it wasn't
that's
all the defense, though.
right, Mike?
It wasn't all the defense because he is dealing with an injury with the ribs. You know, we saw him being attended on the sideline. And then Corey in our Discord, you know, and this is why you got to get on the Discord, guys. He put in there that apparently Jade Daniels is dealing with a hand injury as well. So, I mean, it's the defense gave him struggles, but he's also not 100%.
Yeah, they were saying something about it being cut last night, and it was bleeding or
Yeah.
something. But yeah, that could definitely disrupt the quarterback, that's for sure. But before we jump into our game previews, guys, I just want to remind everyone, please hit that like button, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also hit that bell for notifications so you know when we go live, like we do Sunday mornings for the Sunday social, where we're answering start sit advice and all that stuff. But then head on over to fantasy6pack.net/plans, become an all-access member. That's where you get access to our award-winning rankings, draft cheat sheets when we got fantasy drafts in season. That's where you get access to our F6P Discord, where Michael Plant was alluding to. You get custom advice for your leagues, plus your DFS builds. And that's really the true money maker there. Dave Eddy, Chris Robb, and Keith Fleming do a great job with our DFS content over there. Plus, we have DFS projections, guys, and they are very solid. Especially the basketball stuff right now. We're doing some work over there in the DFS streets for NBA as well. So make sure to check it out, guys. Once again, that's fantasy6pack.net/plans. But guys, without further ado, let's jump right into things. And just to remind everyone how we do it here, we're the Candy Shop. So we do the sweet and sour picks. First they're sour, then they're sweet, you know? But so we'll jump into the first game we got here. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Chicago Bears. Packers have won 10 straight over the Bears. Ike and I absolutely love that. Packers favored by 5.5 on the road in this one with a game total of 40.5. The Bears are getting an offensive lineman back this week. Ike, their left tackle. Why am I blanking on it? Braxton Jones is back this week, but Tevin Jenkins still out. Karana Amagaji's still out. Darnell Wright's still out. So the offensive line's still banged up here, guys. Montez Sweat also questionable. Packers also got Jair Alexander questionable as well. Mike, is that a surprise to you, or should he be pretty good to go.
That's not a surprise to me. He's been kind of injured all year. If he plays, awesome. If he doesn't, it's no biggie. I mean, the way this offense for the Bears has been, they're learning a new offense in a week. I just feel like it's going to be rough sledding just for the Bears this game around against the Packers. If their offense can turn around in a couple weeks when they play the Packers again, I definitely think they could potentially win that game because they have the defense to help out, but the offense is not in the right direction to where I think they're going to actually be that's very productive here. Like it's probably just going to be Swift mainly.
Yeah. You're talking negative about the Bears. Is someone your sour play from the Bears? If so, why don't we just go ahead and start there?
Oh, it's Caleb Williams, and I know like he's kind of maybe it's a low hanging fruit, maybe it's not. You can still go with Swift the way the state of running backs are because this is a decent matchup there. But Caleb Williams, with the 4 bye weeks here, he is not streamer worthy. Go back in time 4 weeks ago, he was streamer worthy, but at this point in time, we've seen what the offense has been. Packers are the 10th toughest matchup for QBs, surprisingly. Like I said, new offensive coordinator, new offense. It's impossible to learn in a week. The ins and out of this offense, so it's probably going to be pretty vanilla. And man, the past three weeks he's been outside the top 25 as QBs. So,
he's been brutal, man. Especially in leagues where sacks are a big deal. He's been brutal because they haven't been able to protect him recently, and it's shame on Shane Waldron, shame on the whole coaching staff. Ike, are you gonna go Caleb Williams, or are you maybe gonna go the wide receivers here? Because I want you guys to talk about the wide receivers. If I'm being honest with you, what do you do with these 3 guys on the Bears?
Everybody
in it too
should be putting Keenan Allen on your bench for the past few weeks, so that shouldn't be a thing. Roma Dunzi, same thing, especially with how Caleb's playing. But for the most part, people have been playing DJ Moore, but I don't think you can anymore. He's had 4 straight games under 10 fantasy points. Only 1 wide receiver, 1 finish, and one of them was a wide receiver 2. So it's been bad for him.
He was a 3rd-round pick, man, and it's been tough sledding outside the game. He pretty much scored touchdowns in, man.
Yeah.
So it's better
options. Like I'm playing Tillman over him, so
yeah, I get that. I totally get that. And Mike alluded to it. Really, the only offensive player I want to start for the Bears is DeAndre Swift this week. So, and he's who he is too. RB 18 to 24, somewhere in there. So it's I'm not super excited to play him either. But Ike, we'll let you go right into your sweet play. Who is it this week in this Bears-Packers matchup?
It's Josh Jacobs. There's not really many people you can pick from the Packers other than him. The Bears are doing really good against quarterbacks, so can't really trust Jordan Love either, which in turn means the wide receivers will be hard to trust, except for maybe Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed can get some runs and stuff like that, but I'm going Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy smash play there. I can see Josh Jacobs being a top 5 running back this week, if I'm being honest with you. No Andrew Billings. He's really the run stuffer in the Bears defense. So yeah, they're going to have problems there. I love the call of Josh Jacobs. Mike, is that where you were going to go as well, or are you going to give me somebody else here?
That's exactly where I'm going. He's 7th in rushing attempts for RBs this year, 4th in rushing yards. He's been RB7 over the past 3 weeks that he's played. And this was a cool little stat that I found, which, basically when I find these stats, it means regression to the mean is coming. There are 7 running backs in the NFL with 700 plus rushing yards on the year. Jacobs is the only one of those 7 with less than 6 rushing touchdowns, and it's exactly half. He only has 3 rushing touchdowns on the year. With all this workload, there is going to be a regression to the mean. This could potentially be another game where he gets 2+ touchdowns. I kind of like that as a bet, and I'm not usually a parlay betting man.
Oh, I would be all over an anytime touchdown. Why not at this point?
I mean, that's where I'm kind of thinking.
If you want to go first touchdown and make it a little bit more money, I would.
I really think it could be. That. Like, I get it. The matchup for QBs is tough, and Jordan Love has been prone to turn the ball over. So maybe when they get in the red zone, they just hand it off Josh Jacobs, where we've seen that it's just easier to run on the Bears than it is to throw on them.
Oh, yeah. I would not be surprised if Jordan Love threw a pick or 2 in this game against the Bears defense. The Packers are still going to win handedly. Like I'm probably gonna take. I don't know if I could do that because I'm a Bears fan, but I probably should. I feel like I should take the Packers in this game, man. Only favored by 5.5. I would be dumbfounded if the Bears kept it within a touchdown. Would you like, or do you think that could happen realistically?
I'm just hoping the Bears play good. They need to. That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah. Maybe Thomas Brown turns things around, man. Hopefully he does. The players seem to like him. So it's just crazy to me. Like, did you guys hear what Keenan Allen said about why Waldron didn't work out? Too nice.
No, we figured that out. I was going to say, we figured that out on our own, and he just sucks.
Said he didn't hold anybody accountable. None of that stuff. Like it's just.
He also didn't have a first 10. He didn't have a first 10 plays.
He didn't script. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't script until that London game. That was insane.
It's also mind-boggling, man. Yep. Especially when you have 10 total points in the first quarter all year. So, yeah, but that's besides the point. We can move on here. From Dollar Bill, we got a question. Caleb or Anthony Richardson? I'm going to go Anthony Richardson.
There has to be a better option.
I almost have to agree. There has to be a
Justin
better option.
Herbert, Bo Nix, Russell Wilson.
Anybody, please just give me some options on your waiver wire. But if I had to pick between those, Richardson.
I was going to say Richardson maybe has the highest ceiling, but his floor, he doesn't even have a floor anymore, man, because he's been such a bad passer. So it's so tough to say. The Colts are starting 3 rookie offensive linemen this week as well. So that's also not an ideal thing either. But out of those 2 options, I'm going to go Richardson. We go Ferguson, who's questionable, or we go Jonnu Smith. I actually like Jonnu here.
I'm going to go Jonnu.
I feel like I was looking today. I think he's seen decent volume over the last few. Mike, do you have anything pulled up that you can pull up real quick? What Jonnu's done the last few games?
Yeah, I have it up right here. I'm looking at it actually right now. So you have where did it go here? You have him getting 16 targets the past 3 games to where's Ferguson? Ferguson's getting 23.
They're coming from Cooper Rush now, who we did agree last week that he's not awful, but he's fine, but it's obviously a downgrade from Dak Prescott here. He's also banged up, like I said, questionable. I'm going Jonnu here. Yeah. Is that where are you going, Mike? Let's be quick about this. Where are you going?
I think I still lean Ferguson on this one. I just trust there's a little bit more volume there. Jonnu Smith, he has been all right, but he only saw 4 targets last week.
All right, fair enough. What's up, Dion? He wants to know who won this trade. Derrick Henry, CJ Stroud, and Waddle for Kamara, Puka, and Mayfield. Give me the Kamara and Puka side.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
CJ Stroud's been brutal, and Waddle's been brutal.
Yeah, he asked this one on Thursday's show. We like that one.
Trade JJ for Jamar.
I mean, if this is redraft, yes. If this is dynasty, it's like, I still feel like you do it. Yeah. Because the way that the QB situation is unfolding, I mean, Sam Darnold is kind of pumpkining. I think this is, I don't think you're going to get the Jamar guy to agree to this trade, Arturo, but you could try.
Yeah, I agree. You can't go wrong with either of these guys, but the quarterback is the tiebreaker for me. Sam Darnold turning a little bit back into the pumpkin that we've seen. He's starting to see a little bit of ghosts flying around or something, man. It's been a little brutal the last few weeks. So yeah,
it's been the left tackle injury. That's why they're trying to figure out that left tackle injury since they traded for Cam
Robinson. Yeah, he's here now. We got another one here. Pretty loaded at wide receivers. 2 flex league PPR, Jefferson, Kupp, Higgins, Tillman, Sutton, Coleman. You got offered Bowers for Cortland. Smash it. Yep. I don't even need to finish this. I don't even need to finish this.
No.
Yeah, do that trade. Yeah, you got enough receivers. You can do that trade. And if that's all he wants for Bowers,
I would have been
run away with that one.
Mm-hmm. Throw in a tight end too if you want one of the tight ends on your roster as well, just to get him off.
If he wants, maybe turn it into a 2-for-2. Give him, be like, hey man, I'll give you a tight end return. What are you?
Or honestly, just keep it at 1-for-1. It's good enough what it is.
It really is. Like you're getting greedy at that point.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like that. smashing that Bauer
Yeah,
side of that
smash
trade
that.
for sure. Guys, the next game we're gonna go ahead into a big game line. Let's play guess the line here. Jacksonville Jaguars against the Detroit Lions. How much do you think the Lions are favored here?
I already
12.
saw it.
Mac, pretty close. Like, what'd you say, LaPlante?
I already saw it.
13 and a half, Ike.
Nah.
Yeah.
2 touchdown favorite for the Lions here. Game total of 47, which I was listening to something and they said I forget what it was. But Vegas pretty much has the Lions hanging a 30 piece up, which is very rare for Vegas to have something that high. But that,
Yeah, I mean, the game total is 47. You minus it by the 13 and a half. They're, expected to win by, that's a 34 and a half, 33 and a half point total, or an intended point total there for the Lions. They're intended to smash here. And I'm just going to go into it.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm going to go into it with my sweet player because you guys probably knew it was coming. Because it's not my first time. It's Jameson Williams. All right. The caveat here is Laporta was ruled out. All right. So this is a big boost for Jameson Williams, just like it was the other way around when Williams was out and Laporta was in. Jacksonville has allowed the 3rd most receiving yards and the 4th most receiving touchdowns with 19 through 10 games. I think Jameson Williams could break one off there. He saw 5 targets last week. That was 3rd on the team off of the suspension. You know who was 2nd? Laporta was 6 targets. Give that to Jameson Williams and probably Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I like Jameson Williams to smash play this week, especially with Laporta out.
That's fair. I could definitely see that happening, man. It's just he's gonna have to get it early because this game could get out of get out of hand early, and Amon-Ra's gonna score because that's just what he's done for 7 straight games, right, Ike?
Yeah.
But where are you going here, my friend, for your
It's Dave Montgomery. 12 plus fantasy points in 8 of his 9 games this year. So, I mean, he's basically just guaranteed RB2 flex material. So you can't go wrong with him. Plus, like you said, they could get out of hand. They're going to probably use Montgomery more than Gibbs if the game is out of hand.
Yeah, I tend to agree there. Yeah, you're firing up all your Lions here. You're hoping, like I said, they get it early if this game gets out of hand. But Dan Campbell usually just leaves his foot on the gas pedal anyway. So even if they do get out to a lead, they're just gonna keep pounding them. So I'm with you guys. LaPlante, I'll kick it to you while Ike slams his beer there. Who's your solid play? Who don't you like in this matchup? Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. For the Jaguars too, we got no Trevor Lawrence, no Tank Bixby either. So where are you going here, Mike?
It's Brian Thomas Jr. Mac Jones is the starter, guys. Like you just said, no Trevor Lawrence. Last week, you only saw 3 targets with Mac Jones. Ingram saw 8. It's not, a big surprise here. But Ingram is doubling Brian Thomas's targets over the last 3 games. And that was with Trevor Lawrence too, being a little banged up. So I feel like just without Trevor Lawrence here, Brian Thomas Jr. is one of these players now where, if you got a better option, I'd be sitting him. I
agree. I hate agreeing with you, man, but I agree there.
I hate the fact that Cedric Tillman is now a better start than Brian Thomas Jr. on the year.
I answered a question today, guys, and this is going on a little bit off the rails. He said the guy I was answering it for said Marvin Harrison was on the waiver wire because somebody had to drop him last week while he was
That's
on
interesting.
bye. Would you have dropped Brian Thomas Jr. with Mac Jones this week and maybe for the foreseeable future? And that was the question. Would you drop Brian Thomas for Marv?
Yeah.
For Marvin Harrison, I would drop it. The QB is the tiebreaker at that point because Brian Thomas Jr. with a capable QB was better than Marvin Harrison. But now he's got Mac Jones.
I hear you. Ike, where are you going here?
You can go Brian Thomas, but I was going to say the whole Jaguars offense except for Evan Ingram.
No ETN this week with Tank Bixby out. You're still not intrigued there?
Dude, he's been brutal. I'd want nothing to do with any of that. I'm sure you can find a better running back right now. There's plenty.
I'm just interested to see if he's just going to be checked down Charlie from Mac Jones here to give him a solid day to people.
I got one for you.
That's my thought.
I got one for you, Ike. We're going real nasty real quick. Javonte Williams or Travis Etienne?
That's Etienne for sure. Javonte lost his job.
Yeah, it's odd jerk.
I said we're going nasty quick.
What a shame for Javante.
We got another question here, guys, from Albert. Good to see you, man. Always in the chat. We appreciate you. We really, truly do. Would you go with Mooney or J-Mo Fulpy?
Mooney.
Quick. I'm still gonna go Mooney in a tough matchup against Denver.
He ain't playing.
What?
He's got an Achilles injury.
No, he's off the report. Mooney's off the report with the Achilles injury, but he did pop up on the report with an Achilles injury, which is not good either way.
No, that's not ideal. That's for sure.
Yeah, he is off the injury report, I believe was the last update I saw, which means he's going to play, but it does worry me seeing an Achilles injury pop up in the middle of the week.
That in the chat.
The process would say Mooney here because he's getting the majority of the targets. I mean, we are going to get that bump in targets because Laporta's out. But Mooney did see 9 targets last week. So it's one of those things where the process says Mooney, but I think with the matchup, I think with the Achilles injury in there as well, even though he's off the report, the fact that it just popped up is worrisome. Matched up with a tough defense, you get a smash play, defense with J-Mo. It's close. Process says Mooney, but I would go J-Mo.
I have to agree with the plant.
Yeah, right. I'm fine with that.
If it wasn't the Achilles, like if the Achilles issue was non-existent, it's Mooney all day, even in the bad matchup with the way he's been. But an Achilles injury with a wide receiver that, is not physically stout, he relies on his route running, being able to get in and out quick. That worries me.
Mm-hmm. And Chad thinks Jaguars are a smash to cover here. He's talking about underselling Mac against the Vikings on a short notice, and he's completely mediocre. I agree. He's a competent backup quarterback. The issue for me, Chad, is how many stops are the Jaguars defense going to get on the Lions in this game? That's the problem that I have. And the Jaguars offense, how many times are they going to score? 3 times, maybe they could get to 21 points, 3 touchdowns. But I don't ever see them stopping the Lions.
I don't want anything to do with Jaguars except for Evan Ingram.
The Ingram's just the safest play, and it's still disgusting. Like, Mac is mediocre. He's better than your average backup QB. I'll give you that. But this is still Mac Jones we're talking about. I cannot recall a single Patriots wide receiver that we were wanting to play with Mac Jones when he was there. And even in his rookie season.
Before the ACL.
But we weren't clamoring to get him like Brian Thomas Jr.
Good point here, Chad.
I do get it. The Lions are not the Vikings. But
their pass defense is actually better than the Vikings.
Gets the wide receivers from a fantasy perspective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Vikings a lot more points per game. The wide receivers.
You're going up against Brian Branch and I think it's Kirby Joseph, right?
No, I take that back.
They got Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold too.
Lions are second best matchup, but the thing is the Vikings are the third best matchup, and it's by a point, 42.3 and 41.2. So they're both just giving it up at this point.
So
it's basically the same defense. So I would just not go with Mac Jones then.
Damn it. It's not wrong.
All right, guys. Next game we got here, the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins favored by a touchdown here, game total of 44. I'm looking at the injury report. Nobody looks like as of note here.
Any fantasy relevant?
Dolphins are without Kendall Fuller, so that is a little bit fantasy relevant. So maybe that helps out Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. But what are your guys' thoughts here? Ike, we'll start to you. Start with your sour play. Who's your sour play in this Raiders Dolphins matchup?
I feel like this one's easy, and it should be the Dolphins sour play until he shows something. It's Jalen Waddle. He's been so bad this year, man. It's kind of he has 1 wide receiver 2 finish. What else was it? He's not really for even second or third in the pecking order now. He could even be behind Jonnu Smith lately. I don't know. It's just been bad for him.
Yeah, he had 50. He had 50 receiving yards on one drive last week and didn't get past 60 for their.
Can I interrupt? I mean, he believe it or not, he did lead the team last week against the Rams in targets with 6.
The game was great.
Yeah, he just can't catch the ball anymore, apparently.
I'm just saying, like I contemplated making Waddle my sour player too because he was my sour player last week, but I decided to go a little bit more on the edge here, and I went with Jacoby Myers. I know you said Kendall Fuller, is out.
Careful,
that may
man.
affect it. May
Free
not.
Jamie, top 15 wide receiver this week.
I
You guys
like
should
it. He
fight
has
about
been he's been very good. The volume has been there. All right, last 3 games getting 9 targets a game. That's great volume. But I think Miami's maybe figured this out, the secondary. Last week, they didn't allow a single receiving touchdown to Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Kyron Williams, which, I mean, those
Yeah, I
3,
didn't
you're
care for
guaranteed
that.
at least – you're at least guaranteed 1 receiving touchdown out of those 3 a game, it seems like, with Matthew Stafford. Now, did you know this, which is a little surprising, and I know it's skewed because of the early statistics without Tua, but Miami has allowed the 4th fewest receiving yards and the 4th fewest receiving touchdowns with 8 on the year.
I don't get it. I mean, I get it to an extent because it's Vic Fangio and he figures out a way to make defenses.
It's not Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio's the defensive coordinator.
Is it because the offense sucks?
You're right. Why did I think that?
So the other offense is just taking it easy on them?
No, it's just.
That's why I said
surprising
the
'cause it feels
stats are a little
Dolphins
skewed.
The Dolphins don't have a ton of talent on the defense, and the talent they had is hurt. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying they're kind of coming together a little bit, and I mean, I know the stats are skewed from the beginning of the year, but when you hold Matthew Stafford to no touchdowns with his full complement of weapons, that does give me notice.
Who do you love here?
It's who Jamie.
Oh,
I was
okay,
gonna say
fine.
it's who Jamie's talking about in the comments here. It's HN. Las Vegas is the 6th best matchup for running backs. They're allowing the 12th best yards per carry at 4.5 yards per carry. They've allowed 10 rushing touchdowns in 10 games. You do the math. That's one
It's
again.
so easy though. I mean, everybody's playing HN. Everybody knows he's good.
What about
no,
Raheem
I'm saying,
Mostert?
no,
Does he catch your guys' eye in this one or no?
He's a smash play. He's the sweet play in this one because HN actually struggled last week. HN was not a sweet play last week. He was RB20, I believe. I'll double check that. But this week, he's going back to his top, 10 finishes, top 7 finishes in this matchup. All right. Like he leads his team in target percentage on the year with 22.3%. All right. In the last 3 games, he's getting 7 targets a game. That leads the team. All right. He's 3rd for all running backs and targets. They are just feeding him so many passing down work, and they're just incorporating him. And that's why I love this bet that Jamie has.
Does Mostert intrigue you at all with the matchup being good, or are you just kind of over him here?
Yes, no. It's a love-hate. Well, it's a love-hate relationship here with Mostert. Last week he got 0 touches. 0.
Yeah, that's
all
weird.
right. They wanted to incorporate it. Yeah, this is a good matchup, but Mostert just really is like the thing about Mostert last year was when he was getting 15 touches a game, he was phenomenal for this offense. He is not getting 15 touches a game.
He lost the red zone role too, which isn't ideal.
Yes,
that's for sure. And if you're saying he got 0 touches last week, then he just lost his role entirely.
I think he may have gotten. No, I don't even see a target here for him. No, he did get he did. He did get targets. He didn't get a single rushing attempt. That was the problem. Sorry, that's correction.
What do you got here?
We're on sweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's his sour play. It's Jacoby Myers.
I like it. Let's go.
The targets are there. The
Put him in the
fantasy
blender.
points are there. He's gotten 17 and a half since coming back from injury. Other than Bowers, he is the only option. So if the Dolphins get up a lot, it could be garbage time for just Jacoby to again get 8+ targets like he's been doing the past few weeks. Which you don't need to score a touchdown to be fine PPR. I'm totally okay with him catching 6 balls for 70 yards. I'm okay with that. He's not going to lose you a week.
I'm with you, man. Jamie's with you as well, having it as a wide receiver 15 this week. So that's good stuff there. I won't fight you. It's going to be I'm intrigued now how this one's going to play out now because you two disagree completely. I love that. I love that shit. Looking at the next game, we got the Cleveland Browns taking on the New Orleans Saints, guys. What a gross game outside of it being Jameis Winston revenge game. He's going to go absolutely bananas on them in this one. I feel it in my bones. Game total of 44. Saints without Jamal Williams in this one doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's really about it for injuries. But Ike, will go ahead, kick it to you to start. Who is give me your sweet play here.
It's Tillman. In the past 3 games, he's been a wide receiver 1 in all 3 games. He's got 9+ targets in those and 18+ fantasy points. He's just, for some reason, been Jameis's favorite target right now. Jerry Jeudy's non-existent. So, yeah, I'm going with Tillman for sure, and especially in a good matchup.
Yeah, they just traded away Marshawn Lattimore, who I found out a couple weeks ago from Jamie in the comments that he was actually still good. So that's obviously that opens up a hole in the Saints secondary. So yeah, I'm with you there. Why not Tillman? The volume's there, everything's there from him. So, and Jameis is gonna Jameis. He's gonna chuck that thing. So yeah, I like that call here, Mike. Where are you going, man?
It's the same. It's Cedric Tillman. I don't know what stats he said here, but I'm going to give you my own. New Orleans is 12th best matchup for wide receivers. They've allowed the 4th most receiving yards in the NFL, but have only allowed the 8 receiving touchdowns, which is tied for 3rd least in the NFL. It's very weird. Regression to the mean here, which means Cedric Tillman could be in for another 2 touchdown week. Since the Amari Cooper trade, he is 3 for 3 in all 3 weeks as a starter, as a top 12 wide receiver. 32 targets the last 3 games. He is a smash start with Winston in this matchup.
Yep, I tend to agree. Does Elijah Moore or Jerry Jeudy intrigue either of you, or is it just strictly Cedric Tillman for you here?
Tillman and Njoku.
I mean, I kind of like Elijah Moore. He has been seeing 8 targets with Winston. It's weird, but he hasn't been doing anything with him. That's what Elijah Moore does. So I think you can, in a pinch, start Moore as a flex, but I'd be going the opposite direction if I could.
All right. Stay here with you, Mike. Who is your sour play?
My sour play is going to be, I'm going to be a Grinch here. It's Nick Chubb.
Yes.
Don't fall for the trap. All right. This is a great matchup. They're 4th best matchup for running backs, but don't fall for it. In 3 games back, he is averaging 2.7 yards per carry. This is not the Chubb we are accustomed to that averages 5 yards per carry. That was, I believe, at the time before the injury, number 1 in all NFL history for yards per carry.
I think he was top 3.
Top 3. Either way, it's not the Chubb we're used to pre-injury. His longest run of the year so far in 3 games is a 15-yard run. He has 1 game over 50 yards rushing. So this is a good matchup. Maybe it's a get-right game, but I don't want to put him in and find out.
Averaging only 6 fantasy points per game. Yeah, it's not great. He's not getting any receiving work, really, so you have to rely on touchdown or the big play. Big play isn't happening. And if it's going to be a touchdown, Jameis is sending it to whoever he wants.
Yeah.
But yes, he is my star play too.
And he doesn't get targets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. You're obviously starting Alvin Kamara from the Saints here. Are we going back to the well here? Maybe at streaming tight end with Taysom Hill?
He did get like an 80+ touchdown called back. So if you're struggling at tight end, yeah, I would do that. But I feel like there's some tight ends that
Jamie brings up a good point here too about Elijah Moore. The slot quarterback is averaging giving up 5 receptions for 56 yards. It allows a 78 completion rate too. So yeah, that's interesting. Clayton said, talk about the Nick Chubb for Metcalf trade we got in our league earlier this week. Was that one's something, man. That one's something. I'm a little excited to talk about DK here in a little bit. We'll get to that, but I like the quote that he gave about the cornerback who he's going to be going up against. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was a good one. Well, go ahead. We'll jump because I skipped this game, guys, because I'm kind of just like, this game's a little bit gross. We got the Los Angeles Rams taking on the New England Patriots, so we'll go back to that one. Rams favored by only 4.5 in this one. I don't know. I like the Rams here. Game total 43.5. LaPlante, we'll let you start here. We'll give us your sour play. Be a little negative here for us.
All right. My sour play is Stafford. Sixth toughest matchup for QBs is the New England Patriots. Stafford has one game this year over 300 passing yards. And basically, the way Stafford is, he's a pocket passer. He needs 300 plus passing yards and 2 touchdowns to finish as a top 10 QB. Only, top 12 QB finishes this year. 1 week with 300 passing yards, and the other week was when he threw 4 touchdowns against the Vikings. So I just don't think it's going to be that week this week against the Patriots. You can run more effectively on them, so it's a Kyron Williams week.
All right, where are you going, Nick?
Yeah, I was going to say Stafford too.
All right, give me your sweet play.
I wanted to say Ramondre Stevenson because I've been saying him for a while now, but it's kind of working out. His yards per carry is kind of brutal.
Yeah, so, you realize that now.
Honestly, there's not much to like in this game, but someone that can win you a week or at least help you, it's Kyron Williams or Puka Nacua. Even though Stafford could be bad, I think Puka Nacua can still get his 8 catches for 80 yards or whatever, which is fine.
It's definitely lame to say those guys, but that's what it is. And
there's not much you want in this game.
I'm sure Mike said it's Kyron Williams is a sweet play because it's a smash spot. But you're also smashing Puka. You're also smashing Cooper Kupp in this matchup. Mike shaking his head no. Then who's your sweet play, idiot?
I went off the rails on this one. I'm gonna give it to you, Neil. It's Drake May. Last week against the toughest matchup for QBs, the Bears, as you know, he finished his QB 16. That's actually not bad, especially for a matchup against the toughest matchup for QBs, and he's a rookie. All right. Rams are the 14th best matchup for QBs. And get this, I don't know if you've realized this, but Drake May has been running his ass off. In his last 3 games, he has more rushing yards, all right, 165, than Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. Who would have thunk that? Yeah, he's given you a solid floor, and it's a decent matchup for the passing game. So I mean, if he's going to finish this QB 16 against the toughest matchup, I gotta imagine he's potentially going to crack the top 12 this week.
He's been a top 12 quarterback at least 2 or 3 times so far already this year. I think 2.
Like you said, he's giving you a nice rushing floor. That's an absolute fact, man. You love to see that. We know coming out, he had mobility, that he was able to get out of the pocket, escape, make plays, run a little bit. But to this extent, not sure that was going to be a thing for sure.
Did you see what El Presidente, he asked John Gruden, he goes, who do you like more, Caleb Williams or Drake May? And instantly Gruden goes, May. That man is a baller.
It looks good.
That made me laugh.
I should have said, I'm glad I refrained from what I wanted to say.
Me too. Next game, we got the Baltimore Ravens taking out the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is an exciting game, man. Divisional matchup here. Game total for this divisional matchup, guys. Ravens favored by 3.5. Game total 48.5 for a Ravens Steelers game. To think about that is just crazy. It really is.
Probably one of the highest in their history.
Yeah, and it's because the Ravens can't stop anybody. So it's like, I can't see that game going much over that.
I feel like like what the Ringer podcast says, this is a Costanza. I feel like you should be betting the under with how high
it's
the
too
over
high.
is
That's
here.
what I mean. It's too high. It's too high, man.
Too high.
With this divisional rivalry.
Well, for my sweet pick, it's obvious. It's George Pickens. The switch to Russell Wilson has made him into an easy wide receiver too. He's averaging 14.3 points per game with him. 2 of them have been wide receiver 1 finishes. So smash game, 500 yards. I don't see that, but I definitely see him being a top 20 wide receiver for sure. Keep rolling him out there as long as Russ is QB.
These wide receivers are they have set Russell Wilson up for success because of these 2 wide receivers. With him and Mike Williams now, is there 2 better
don't
He's really just
going to be Mike Williams yet.
No, but he catches moon balls. That's what I'm saying. He'd go up and get it.
He'll get hurt. He'll get hurt from catching one of those balls.
But they're trying to set it up for success, man. It's something. I'm still not bought into Russ. I'm really not. I can't get into it, but he's been solid for sure. What are your thoughts here, Mike? Who's your sweet play?
It's Pickens. Since Wilson's been the starter, Pickens is averaging 18 fantasy points per game, which is good enough to be wide receiver 11 in that span. This is the number one best matchup for wide receivers in Baltimore. One of only 3 teams to allow 40-plus fantasy points to wide receivers. This is a fun little tidbit. They have allowed the most receiving yards and the most receiving touchdowns in the NFL with 22 on the year. 22 receiving touchdowns through 10 games.
Yep. No, he is. Pickens is usually
What
a
happens when
smash
Kyle
play here.
Hamilton's out?
And if you got your quarterback out of bye, guys, Russ, I know I just said I'm not super in on him, but you can stream him this week and he'll be totally fine here. He may not have a huge week, but he'll be serviceable at least, in my opinion. LaPlante, who's your sour play, man?
You sure you want to hear it?
Yes, that's why I asked you.
I don't want to say it because you're going to give me shit. It's Najee Harris. He's a little banged up here. Baltimore is allowing a league best 3.4 yards per carry, second fewest rushing yards, and Najee saw 0 targets last week. Now, this could be because Cordell Patterson and Jaylen Warren were back both healthy, but Jaylen Warren is questionable this week, so maybe, if he misses the game, he could see, like 2-3 targets here, but it's looking like another week where Najee Harris is going to finish outside the top 20 for running backs.
I like to hear that, man. Not a Najee fan myself. But yeah, Jaylen Warren is questionable, so I guess it depends on if he sees enough volume, Mike, and if he gets some dump offs, he still could be okay. But I like the call here. I don't expect a big day from Najee here, and it wouldn't surprise me if he fell outside the top 24.
He was saved by a touchdown last week.
Yep. Where are you going here, Ike?
I was going to go the easy route and say Deontay Johnson, but I like LaPlante more, so I'll go with Najee.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson is
he's not involved anymore. Even though
I know they said they're going to get him more involved, but you got to wait and see it now. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the season. It's almost playoff time. You can't be starting someone like Deontay Johnson in your lineup, even with 6 teams on bye or whatever it is. So, yeah, I'm with you there, too. Next game we got here on the docket, the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Tennessee Titans. Kind of another gross game here, fellas. Ike, we'll start with you here. Give me your sour play out of this Vikings-Tennessee matchup. Sorry, Vikings are favored by 6 here. Game total 39.5.
I'll go with Tony Pollard. He has a tough matchup, and he is coming off a mild injury. It's nothing like super serious, but it's enough to where Tyjae Spears is going to eat into his touches a little bit, enough to where you have to worry about Pollard, again, scoring under 10 fantasy points like he did last week.
Yeah, not a big fan of Pollard this week. In the home league, I subbed him out of my lineup for Brian Robinson last night. It worked out okay. Robinson got in the end zone early, so that made it worth it. But yeah, I don't see Tony Pollard having a big week here either. Tajee Spears is being worked in more, and he looks good too. But
he's finally getting healthy too, so that's why he's getting worked in more. So,
yep, for sure. Mike, where are you going here?
It's the same player. It's Tony Pollard. It's the 4th toughest matchup for running backs. Like you said, Tajay Spears is getting worked in. I won't bore you with anything else because it is Tony Pollard, and I'll just jump right into my my sweet play here.
Yep.
It's ugly. It's very ugly, but it's Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, hell yeah.
This is a great matchup again for Calvin Ridley, and last time we had a great matchup for Calvin Ridley, even with Will Levis last week, he still was all right. He scored 2 touchdowns last week with Will Levis. So that was my only fear with Calvin Ridley is Will Levis back on the field. But if he can, have the game he had against the Chargers in a tough matchup last week with Will Levis, give me Calvin Ridley to smash. And I hate the fact that I dropped him in the home league.
I felt like all 3 of us were pretty in on Calvin Ridley at cost this offseason, and it looked really bad for a little bit, guys. And I was there, and now it's back. But we weren't.
I was
wrong.
the closest one. I actually picked him up. He was on my roster. He was on my roster, but no, the one time I let my Packer bias take over.
To build on what the plan said, he is averaging 19.7 fantasy points in his last 3 games, and since the bye week, where I'm pretty sure he complained. He's averaging.
It's the Hopkins trade.
He's averaging 9.8 targets per game. So yeah, since Hopkins pretty much. So
it's 100% the Hopkins trade. So another great matchup. We're talking about the 3rd best matchup for a wide receiver. So yeah, smash Ridley this week. Smash.
All right, guys.
Get him in the
We
DFS
love
lineup if you can.
We love Ridley this week, so that means fade him here, guys. So
Yep.
I'm just kidding. But next game we got the last noon game here in the Midwest. We got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the New York Jets. Jets favored by 4 points here. I don't know how the Jets could be favored by over 4
Because Anthony
points
Richardson.
to anybody. Gabe
They
total
were
43.5.
favored. They were favored over the Cardinals. Do you remember that? They were favored over the damn Cardinals.
I don't
they
remember
smashed
that.
them.
Mhm. Yeah, gotta love the Jets are a joke. Absolute. The Sauce thing. Did you see the Sauce interview this week?
Yeah.
Where they
No.
said
He doesn't
where they
need to
said
learn
their-
how to tackle. He knows
yeah,
how.
their coach gave him a tackling presentation, Mike.
Because they
Sauce
miss great
said-
tackles.
Just him specifically.
No,
No,
the
everybody.
whole team. The whole team.
Oh,
And then
maybe-
Sauce in an interview pretty much said that I don't need to learn how to I already know how to tackle, man. You don't.
He
need
kind
to
of
be
sucks
throwing out
actually
sales.
right now.
It was pretty. Yeah, he does suck. It's because they're not letting it. We talked about it on the pod last year about how physical the referees were letting Sauce Gardner play last year
Yep.
with the pushing and the pulling, and that's just not the case this year. And he's
Nope.
really struggled because of it. But Ike, we'll let you start here with you. We'll let you take it with a sweet play here. What do you got?
I don't like anybody, but I'm going to be a homer because I have him and I want him to be good finally. But I'm going to go Brees Hall. He's getting the snaps. He's like around 80% at least. Sometimes it's weird that he'll drop in the 70s because they'll be like, hey, let's give Braylon Allen some touches. But if they want to win, they're going to have to rely on probably their best player or maybe second best player. You can argue with Garrett Wilson. But I'd rather rely on Brees Hall more than Aaron Rodgers right now, to be honest. So I'd work Brees Hall as much as I could. I don't know if you have a playoff shot right now, but if you do, you gotta win. And this is a week that you can win. So
If anyone's more of a smash play than Brees Hall this week,
It's
it's
Jonathan
Garrett Wilson.
Taylor. Ooh,
No,
okay.
I'd say it's Garrett Wilson just because Devontae Adams, he has 2 injuries he's dealing with. So he may be limited and which is just going to feed Garrett Wilson more. This is a good matchup. The Colts defense is not that great, and this is why Brees Hall is my sweet play as well, because I didn't want to go with the low hanging fruit in Wilson. He hasn't been a top 10 running back for the past 3 weeks, and this has basically been since the Devontae Adams trade, which we all thought it was going to benefit him. It clearly hasn't, but this is the 12th best matchup for running backs. It seems like a get right week for me. Indianapolis is allowing the 3rd most rushing yards in the NFL. Here's the thing. Brees Hall's got to get 18 touches. If he gets 18 touches, he's a top 12 running back. That's his problem. He hasn't been, in the 2 weeks. Actually, I take that back. 3 weeks, he's had 18 plus touches. 2 of them, he's been a top 10 running back, RB6 and RB7. So we just got to get more volume for Brees Hall. That's all.
All right, go right into your sour play, man. Who don't you like here?
It sucks. I don't want to say this, but it's Josh Downs. With Anthony Richardson starting, Josh Downs has an average finish of wide receiver 60. Now, it's only 3 games with Anthony Richardson, but that is just not appealing to me.
yeah, you can say that, and Anthony Richardson too. I know some people will want to put him in your lineups. I would suggest not doing so.
Yeah, it's not ideal with all the offensive lineman injuries, but I get the tantalizing upside here as a streaming possibility, but I don't know if I have the cojones to do so. So I don't know if I can recommend it either here. Going into the afternoon games, guys, we only got 3 afternoon games this week. The Atlanta Falcons taking on the Denver Broncos. This is one of the intriguing matchups for me. I'm looking forward to this one. Broncos favored by 2 points here. Game total of 44. LaPlante, I'll let you start this one. Where are you going here with your sweet or sour play, whatever you want?
I really hope it don't bite me in the ass, but I love my running backs in our home league this week with Devon Achane matchup and Bijan's matchup here. And it's not like Bijan's matchup is a smash matchup. It's just the best way you can attack Denver. It's on the ground. When it comes to in the air, they are top 5 toughest matchup for both QBs and wide receivers. So I just feel like this is going to be another Bijan week. I've seen him in a lot of rankings being top 5 this week. So London gets Surtain. You got the Mooney Achilles injury. So I just give me Bijan for another smash week.
It's not just Surtain, man. Riley Moss has been very solid for the Broncos as well.
The secondary has just been good as a unit.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Bijan is the play that you want here. Even Algier, if you're in a pinch here, they're going to need to run the ball. They're going to need to run the ball, control the clock, I think, if they're going to want to win this game at Denver. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I can see Bijan having a huge day here. You're still starting London. Mooney, you guys seem a little bit more weary.
I don't
instances.
You're starting London, but I really am contemplating benching him in the few spots I have him, just because of the Surtain matchup. Like, it's a serious matchup. He's held very good receivers to doing nothing. We're talking wide receiver 50, 60 finishes. I mean,
the issue is the 6 teams on bye, man.
That's the problem. It's not 6 teams on bye. But
is it 4?
4. Yeah, it's 4.
Yeah.
But that, I agree with you. That's the thing, is there's not many better options out here for you. But seriously, legitimately, if I have an option between Drake London and Cedric Tillman, I'm going Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. Where are you gonna go here, Ike?
I don't know why nobody mentioned the sweet play of being Cortland Sutton, but that's where I'm going. In 3 straight games, he has 17 plus fantasy points. It's a good matchup. You're definitely starting him.
It's because we just told the other guy to trade him.
For Brock Bowers, though, Sutton has been very, very good, and he's locked into your lineup, man. And he's been very, very good because his quarterback's been very solid.
Legitimately, I think, with the matchup, I would almost rather start Sutton over London.
I don't have a problem with that. I'd start Sutton over the other guy you said. Who did you say before that?
Tillman.
Cedric Tillman?
I'd start Sutton over Tillman still, too.
Oh, man, I like Tillman.
No, I'd start Tillman over him. Actually, they're both playing very similar, so I would want both of them right now.
Yeah, over the London play.
They're literally both averaging around 17, 18 fantasy points per game in the past 3, so.
Yeah. Ike, who's your sour play here?
Javante, obviously. I'm assuming that's going to be LaPlante. Who else do you get put?
No, mine was Drake London.
Nobody's starting Javante Williams.
My
bullshit.
Drake London.
There is still people starting Javante.
I'm starting Javante Williams. I have to start Javante.
I'd rather start Gus Edwards than Javante Williams.
I don't have that option.
I would pick up Vidal if you can. He lost his job. His snap percent was 20%. He's done.
I'm between Jalen Warren and Javante Williams, and Jalen
Warren. Jalen Warren, yeah.
Jalen
Warren
might
not play.
10 times out of 10.
Might not play.
I'd still play him over Javante because Javante's probably not playing either.
I'm with you. Here. Who's your sour play, LaPlante? Was it London?
It was London.
Need to hear
it's London.
All right, cool. We can move on. Don't care about that.
You pick Patrick. Whoever Surtain goes against, that's who you pick. Real rich.
It's worth. Dude, there's like a 75 to 80% hit rate with picking the wide receiver Surtain shadows.
We got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Niners favored by 6.5 in this one with a high game total of 48. Kicking it to you, man. Give me your sour play here to start.
I would like to know first what that whole thing about what DK said. What did he say about the corner?
They just extended Denominor Lenore, right?
Yeah, Diamonor Lenore.
He said they just paid that guy how much money? I'm going to show you why that was a mistake. Or something along those lines. He pretty much said he's going to torch the guy this weekend.
Well, he was my sour.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
He was my sour because this was his first game back, and usually against the 49ers, he struggles, but he seems to be like on fucking Goku mode or whatever his name is.
Give me all the team.
I'm lost on the sour pick, so that can be kicked to LaPlante.
All right, I'll take it away.
Well, what do you guys think about with DK coming back now? How big of a hit does JSN take now?
Well,
JSN's barely been good anyways.
If you would have just let me talk, if you would have just let me take it away with my sour pick, I could have told you that. It's JSN.
Me up for it. All right.
You could basically just say he's been bad lately and just move on.
Yeah,
In 7
listeners,
games-
if you can't tell, we don't know who each other's picks are. So this is always news to me too. So I like it. But go ahead, Mike.
In 7 games with DK Metcalf, JSN has an average finish of wide receiver 42. That is not startable. All right. Now, maybe this week with 4 teams on bye, you can get that into like that wide receiver 36 to 38 range. In 2 games without Metcalf, he's averaging a wide receiver 20 finish. Now, small sample size. 1 week was wide receiver 38. 1 week was the wide receiver 1. But either way, without Metcalf, JSN is way more valuable in this offense. With Metcalf, JSN is a borderline flex play.
I like it. I like the spiel there, man. So why don't you go ahead and give me your sweet play here?
All right, my sweet play, none other than Mr. Brock Purdy himself. QB5 the last 3 weeks with 22.3 fantasy points per game. And you want to talk about another guy that's scooting and booting? Brock Purdy, 20 rushing attempts in the past 3 games. Only Jalen Hurts has more at the QB position than Purdy in the last 3 games. As far as rushing attempts, not rushing yards. Drake May has that beat. But just the fact that Purdy is running a lot more gives us a solid floor. Now, maybe this changes a little bit with McCaffrey being healthy. But either way, Brock Purdy is scrambling in the red zone. He's getting rushing touchdowns. Just a great floor and a good matchup against the Seahawks where we know there's going to be volume.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, Mike. Or Ike, where are you going? Why do I keep calling? That's the second time I've called you Mike tonight. Idiot.
Brock Purdy is good, but I'm going to go Juwan Jennings. He saw 11 targets last week. Usually when he's healthy, he's been seeing a good amount of targets. And plus he's got a good matchup, and he's playing the Ayuk role now, so it's always a good role to have, especially in the 49ers offense.
Yeah, it was good to see him back, come off the injury last week, and be very good. Do what Juwan Jennings always does for this offense, man. Okay, we can move on to the next game. Mike, you wanted to bring it. Go ahead, bring it up.
Yeah, let's answer Adrian's question here. So he said he just traded James Conner, Eckler, and Cooper. What he was saying here is he did 2 trades, guys. He got Cooper and Eckler for Neighbors. So he traded Cooper and Eckler for Malik Neighbors. All right, that's one trade. And then he traded James Conner for Garrett Wilson straight up.
I like that. I like the Garrett Wilson move, man.
That Garrett Wilson move is fire. Adrian.
I'm fine with either one.
Yeah.
I
would not. Oh, you traded. No, he got. Go ahead.
Oh, he got Cooper and Eckler from Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, I'm going the Neighbors side on that one.
I want Neighbors instead.
See, here's the thing. I get why he made the move. He just traded his running back, James Conner. Probably needed a little bit of running back depth. Just got Garrett Wilson. So I like it. I get it. It's a reactive move. Ultimately, I think you got the best player because out of both of these trades, the best player in the trade is Garrett Wilson, right?
I would almost argue James Conner, but
yes, but with how James Conner, we know how he goes. The game coming up where he's probably
right now. Apparently, Eckler can be said too, and so
exactly. So
because I don't know if you noticed, but Washington's quarterback couldn't throw the ball downfield last night.
No, so Eckler is going to be the wide receiver 1 now,
and he still can't. So
Daniels is skipping balls all over the place, man. Yeah, it was not a good showing from him. Eckler is. He's startable running back. We probably should have touched on that at the top of the show because he's the startable running back moving forward as he keeps doing that. We got another one here from Schmitty. Wide receivers are London, Smith, Jennings, Evans. Trade London for Debo.
No.
I have London in a lot of places, so maybe I'm blinded by it, but I'm still going to go. I'm just going to stick.
I want London over Debo for sure.
You, Mike? Or where are you going?
I stick with London. I get the appeal for it because you got Devontae Smith, but you also got Jennings. So you don't want to be having Juwan Jennings and Debo Samuel. I don't think that's a good strategy. I say
and Debo has to deal with C-Mac and Pearsall's coming along now. George Kittle is the touchdown threat, and
you get Evans back after the bye week
for Ayuk role.
Does this change your guys' mind at all that Debo has already had his bye? all of his wide receivers there, including Debo, have already had their bye. London's buys next week. Does that change anything? I guess it kind of depends on what his record is, right?
Well, London's the only one who hasn't had the bye out of those wide
Right,
receivers.
that's
And
what
you can
I'm
still
saying.
play
Williams is
those
in his
three,
bye
so you're
right now.
fine.
But
Yeah,
next
although
week,
Rodgers
Evans is
missed
supposed
the
to be
bad.
back after the bye. So, like, that's where you're getting that reinforcement help from Mike
Schmitty,
Evans.
let me know what your record is here. That would probably help influence my decision. If you're like desperate for a win next week and you can't play London,
That's the thing. If you're desperate for a win and you need that win, I can understand making this trade because of the matchup with London and Surtain.
yeah, let us know what your record is, and then we'll let you know, man. Next game here, game of the week, game of the year: Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills. Guys, want to take a guess at what the line is here and who's favored? Okay,
Kansas
Bills
City by
minus
3.
Bills minus 2. Bills minus 2.
Hmm.
So you're saying take the Chiefs here, right?
Why not? What they're probably
Chiefs-
going to be undefeated after this game again. Still,
Chiefs money line it is. Bills are 3-1 against the Chiefs in the regular season. I think it's just the Chiefs are 3-0 against them in the playoffs. Game total of 46 here. No
The
Isaiah
Chiefs have the
Pacheco
horseshoe
still.
right now.
Yeah, they do. No Keon Coleman for the Bills. No Dalton Kincaid either, who was rolled out with the knee injury. Amari Cooper's questionable, but apparently he's gonna. If he plays, he's gonna wear a cast, which doesn't seem like a good idea, man. As a wide receiver, his
Decoy.
yeah. Smitty says he's 4-6. He needs to win out.
do the
It
trade,
sucks
I guess,
because-
man. Because London's got Surtain, so he's likely gonna struggle this week. You get Debo this week. You could
It
swap
just sucks
him
in
there.
the long term.
And then you get Debo the following week. Go ahead and do the trade. If it was
You'll
strict,
have
if
Mike
you were
Evans.
if you were 6-4 and you had, I would tell you to keep London. Well, with you being 4-6, needing wins these next 2 weeks, I'm fine with you.
Debo's going to score more points than Drake
Does
London
that-
this week, I believe.
The next 2 weeks, man. Obviously, London's
Yeah,
gone.
I mean,
so.
yeah, with the bye week too, the next 2 weeks. Yeah, that's
You all right with that, Ike, or are you still gonna stick with?
Yeah,
London
I
here?
would do that. If you're 4-6, yeah, do that. I mean, you're desperate for a win at this point.
I mean, I still wouldn't just because he has Jennings too. You're hoping for 2
Yeah,
players
but the
to be
thing
really
is,
good on that team.
I get it.
How often is that going to happen when C-Mac is there too?
Yeah, he just said it.
So he will be starting Debo. I can't do that. That's just me personally. I know you guys probably could, but I'm not.
When your
There's
other
no way.
option is Drake London against Surtain, though, and you got a good matchup against the Seahawks where they throw the
I
ball
will
a lot.
never. I don't like playing 2 players from the same team because if the quarterback struggles, you lose out on 2 instead
That's
of
the
just
thing.
1.
Brock Purdy's not struggling.
He
He's
can.
55 past 3 games. Everybody can
He's like-
struggle.
yeah, exactly. That's why would you have multiple players from the same team unless it's a running back and wide receiver
Yeah.
or the
I
quarterback
hear you.
wide receiver stack?
I still say I would do it, Smitty. It sucks for the long term, but you're 4-6. If you need to win, I mean, you're not going to have London pretty much for the next 2 weeks.
And what makes you say he's getting Surtain the whole time? They're going to move him around since
He does. He goes into the slot too. I agree. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he plays the slot most of the time right now.
Well, yeah, I want to say it's either in the upper 30s, 40%, somewhere around there. So yeah, it could happen too. I don't know. We'll see, guys. But did anybody give any picks here for the Chiefs Bills game? I don't think so, right?
No.
I'll just take it away. Sweet player here for me is Kareem Hunt. This
Yeah,
is the second. Yeah, it is an easy one, but we're gonna milk it while we can until Pacheco's back. Second best matchup for running backs here. Only 2 teams allowing 30 fantasy points per game to running backs. Buffalo also allows the most receptions and receiving yards to running backs this year. Oh yeah, they also allow the most receiving touchdowns to running backs on the year with 5 so far. So Kareem Hunt, RB15 last 3 weeks, seeing 23 touches a game. Man, I think he's a lock for RB15 or better.
Yeah.
That's where you're going, Ike.
No, I'm going Dawson Knox.
Okay.
Chiefs allow the second most points to tight ends, the most yards, top 3 in most catches allowed. Since Kincaid is out, that's where I'm going. Plus, I know this is just completely off topic, but it seems like Josh Allen and Knox are bros. When there was this little segment on ESPN Countdown, he was his first choice to throw to in any situation. So I like Knox for sure this week.
All right, right on. Mike, where are you going here? Jamie, while you're looking at that, let me know if you could how much is Drake London playing in the slot, please, if you could. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, my sour player is, and you have to start him, especially with 4 buys. It's James Cook. Just temper your expectations here. Toughest matchup for running backs is the Kansas City Chiefs. They allowed the 3rd fewest rushing yards, 3rd fewest rushing touchdowns, with only 5 on the year. They have also allowed the 10th fewest receptions to running backs. They've allowed 0 receiving touchdowns to running backs on the year so far. Maybe that changes, but James Cook, either way you cut it in the passing game or the running game, this is a very tough matchup.
Agreed.
Yes, it is. That's where you're going as well. Like,
yep.
All right, looking at Sunday night football, we got the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers here favored by 1.5 with a game total of 48 here. 40, almost 50 points is a game total, guys, with a Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman.
How often do the Chargers hit the over, though?
They have in the past 10 games, I believe, or something like that.
This one's going to be this one's going to be it. I'm not touching the game total here, that's for sure. JB just said London plays an average of 36% of his snaps in the slot, man. So that's, and Surtain doesn't travel in the slot very much. He said his most is 9.7.
Yeah, but you even said it yourself. Riley Moss in that secondary has been pretty good.
He's good. Riley Moss doesn't play the slot though.
5'9" Riley Moss or 6'5" Drake London. I'm going Drake London.
That's fair.
Too small.
Too small.
I'll let you take it away here, man. Whatever way you want to go in this matchup. I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a good game.
I think it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be one of the first times where Harbaugh is going to have to deal with some shit. Joe Burrow's on another level right now.
Shit's going to hit the fan this game.
Go ahead, Phil.
Now, Joe Burrow has all of his weapons. I mean, it's about there's going to be a time where the Chargers defense is going to be put in a situation where they're going to have to retaliate on offense with a lot of throwing. I think this is the week, and Herbert should be a top 12 quarterback. I mean, he's been QB 11 the past few weeks, 5, 3, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you there. That's totally fine. Mike, take it away. Where you're going here? You're muted, man. Take yourself off mute. You don't need to
just
mute
to confirm
every time.
No, I do. I got a squeaky ass chair. I do got to mute myself. Just so you know, last 3 weeks he has finished inside the top 11 2 out of 3 times. The third time was a top 12 finish. But either way, he's been a QB1 the past 3 games. And he is my sweet player. You kind of talked me into it a little bit this week when we talked about him, Dylan. Just looking at it, this is probably the best matchup Herbert's going to get all year outside of the Ravens coming up. Cincinnati has allowed the 8th most passing yards and the 6th most passing touchdowns with 17 through 10 games. 3 of the last 5 games, he has over 30 passing attempts, which is good. Although the past 3 straight weeks, the passing attempts have gone down, which is a little odd, but they haven't needed them. But this is one of those weeks where they may need to increase that. I mean, the downside, playing devil's advocate here, Herbert only has 1 game over 300 passing yards, and he has 0 games with 3 total touchdowns. Like last week, he was RB8 because he got that rushing touchdown, his only of the year. All right, and he's either getting 1 or 2 passing touchdowns, and very rarely is he getting over 300 passing yards. Maybe this will be the second.
Yep. Who's your sour play, man?
It's Chase Brown. It hurts me to say it. Chargers have given up only 2 touchdowns on the year to running backs all year. They're allowing the 7th fewest rushing yards in the NFL, and the Chargers are 9th fewest in running back reception. Actually, take that back. I read that wrong. They are allowing the 9th most running back receptions, so this could save him because he will get involved in that. But also, you got Khalil Herbert being worked in as well. So this is just going to be a sour week for Chase Brown, where he might finish at, probably RB 15 to 20. Not that RB1 he's been getting.
I was going to say Chase Brown too as well. It's a tough matchup. Other than the Chiefs, they're probably the toughest against the run. So
You're right.
it, like LaPlante said, though, the receiving will save him. If this turns into a shootout, he's obviously going to be scoring 15 to 20 points. So I wouldn't be benching him for certain players, but I wouldn't.
It's just the ceiling is so capped, man, with the limited touchdowns to running backs. That's the thing. They're just so good at holding running backs out of the end zone.
You could also make a case for J.K. Dobbins being a sour play as well, man, with Gus Edwards being worked back in. Dobbins not going to see a lot of the red zone carries, and like the goal line back is still Hassan Haskins. We saw it last week. Him getting
He's not the goal line back. He got one touch.
Hey,
One
he's got
touch in the
two or three touchdowns this year.
I meant in the red zone.
Edwards is still going to be it too. What can save Dobbins is he's still going to be the pass catcher out of that group, which is weird to say that's Dobbins' role. But yeah, I'm definitely not super excited to be starting J.K. Dobbins anymore, I guess is what I should say. Moving on to the next game here, guys, our final game, and this is still Monday Night Football, unfortunately. The Houston Texans taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Texans favored by 7 points with a game total of 42. Good thing about it being a night game here in Dallas, they don't have to worry about that dang sun, man. So LaPlante, let you take it away here. Who is your?
They still might put the shades here. They still might put the shades up just to be safe.
Let's be positive here. Give me your sweet play out of this Texans Cowboys matchup.
All right, this is as positive as you can get because this pick is all off vibes, man. Nico Collins, give me some Nico Collins.
Hell yeah!
In 5 games this year played, he is still the wide receiver 25 in total points. That's more points than Calvin Ridley and Tyreek Hill on the year. And I know Tyreek Hill's been struggling, whatnot. Calvin Ridley's been hot lately. But Nico Collins in the first 5 games scored more points than all of them, both of those two combined in 9 games. Nico Collins is the only other wide receiver other than Jamar Chase averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. Let's get it going again.
Maybe he could save CJ Stroud, man. Let's hope that happens.
That's why I had CJ Stroud as my guy. Cowboys are struggling against quarterbacks, so hopefully Nico Collins puts him back into a at least borderline quarterback one finish again.
Yeah, just make it be able to be comfortable to start CJ Stroud because I don't want any part of it right now, man. To a point where he could if Nico wasn't coming back, CJ Stroud would absolutely be droppable. But now we get to wait and see what he looks like with Nico back in the lineup. Ike, take it away here with your sour play.
I wanted to say CD Lamb just because of last week. He saw the targets, very little catches, but I looked at when he's with Cooper Rush, he does constantly see 8+ targets. This is a game where he can, the Texans defense is brutal. So based off volume alone, he's not going to lose you a week. I just don't think he's going to be winning you a week. Expect 12 points, 12, 15. If he can score
he
like
saw
he was
10 targets
supposed to last week. He was supposed to score last week, but the sun
couldn't
was
see the ball
right into his eye. So it could have been a better fantasy day for him. He'll still see the volume. I'm not worried.
It could, man, but the volume is all that's keeping him alive. 10 targets. He had 6 receptions for 21 yards.
Exactly. And that touchdown would have put him at 6 or 14 points, which is fine. That's all I need.
It just reminds me of the wide receiver version of Najee Harris. Yeah, he's going to see the volume. He ain't going to be very efficient with it, and he's going to need that touchdown probably to save it.
At least CeeDee Lamb can run 60+ yards.
I'll give you that. This is one thing. CeeDee Lamb is my side.
Never compare those two ever again.
Yeah, no, please.
I'm just saying, when Cooper Rush at QB, those targets are as good as Daniel Jones' targets.
I didn't care for that, Mike.
Here's a statistic anomaly that I found just astounding. Houston is allowing the 7th fewest receiving yards in the NFL, but yet they are allowing the 2nd most receiving touchdowns with 21 on the year. Tell me how that makes sense.
They can't stop a deep ball, maybe? I'm not really sure.
No. They're allowing the 7th fewest receiving yards.
Oh, they can't stop the run. And when they get in the red zone, they're like, hey,
they're just passing it, I guess. So I guess it's easy to throw on the Texans in the red zone, so that does benefit CeeDee Lamb. Hopefully he can get that touchdown, but man, he's not going to get the yards unless he breaks a big one.
So CD is your sour play, huh?
He is. You start him. You got to start him, but just temper the expectations. It's going to be sour.
Mine would have been Ferguson. He's not a top 12 tight end for me this week, dealing with the injury. Cooper Rush at quarterback. He's the guy who, I'd rather look elsewhere here. He would be my sour play here. But guys,
Jake Ferguson.
We did it.
Who would you start? Jake Ferguson or Cole Kmet?
Dawson Knox.
I agree.
Will Disley. Well, either one of those.
I hate you.
Do it. I would have done it. No, you don't. But all right, guys, we did it. We are finished with our Week 11 game previews. It was a lot of fun. But now, guys, looks like the fight before the Jake Paul Tyson match is in round 7 here out of 10. So it's coming up here pretty quick. Who do you guys got? Like Tyson, Jake Paul? Who you got?
Tyson. Although Jake Paul does have a right hand that can knock out most fucking people, so be careful of that.
Jamie, who you got? Tyson or Jake Paul? Mike, who you got?
I want to see a knockout.
Let's see a knockout.
I would love to see Tyson knock him out, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not sure a 57-year-old man can do that at this stage of his career, but if there's any boxer at this age who could do it, it's Mike Tyson, man. Those hands are heavy. Those punches are hard. So that's
experience is worth a lot, man. And he's got it.
Is he gonna be able to keep going past like round 5 or 6 though? He's 50.
They're only 2-minute rounds, so hopefully.
I think he pulls a Floyd Mayweather. He plays it smart. Let Paul attack and then just counter.
He's never been one to do that though. Tyson is always just full on attack and just eat your heart out.
He wants to
I get it, but he's 58.
Yeah, we could see some weird shit happen tonight. So that's why I'm excited.
Jake Paul. The script says Jake Paul, who is favored in Vegas right now. I think he's minus 200 or something like that. What'd you say?
I think Jake is favored.
Yeah, he is. And I didn't understand the weight change in the gloves. Weirded me out, man. That's silly to me. I don't care for that either.
I don't know what any of that means. So,
but it is. It is what it is, guys. But on your way out, everyone listening, if you could please hit that like button. We really do appreciate it. And subscribe if you haven't already. Jamie just said Jake Paul's minus 220. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think we're all cheering for Tyson. We just don't know if that's going to happen tonight. But make sure to hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And then check us out on the Sunday Social starting at 9:30 Central Time, 10:30 Eastern. We got Matt from the Parlay Guys coming to give his best bets. And then we got Joe Bond, who last I checked was the number 1 ranker in the industry right now.
Number 4.
Number 4 now, Fantasy Pros consensus. Ooh, he dropped. And then you got myself, Michael Plant, and Jordan Schultz answer and start sit questions. And then the DFS guys, Keith Fleming and Chris Robin finishing up the show the last hour, giving you all the DFS content that you need to win some money. So make sure to check out the Sunday Social. But until then, guys, for Mike and Ike, I'm Dylan. Candy Shop is closed. See you next time.